One of the most well-preserved medieval fortifications in Europe surrounds the small town of Aigues-Mortes along the western periphery of the Camargue in the south of France. In the 13th century, King Louis IX, the Holy, was in search of a suitable location for a harbour on the Mediterranean that would serve both trade and military purposes. The Aigues-Mortes region was far from ideal, as it was a swampland on which it was almost impossible to build. However, the orders of the king had to be obeyed. In 1240, the town was established. 8 years later, the mighty Constance Tower was completed. The sturdy 6-metre thick walls were designed to protect the town and also the harbour. Outside the town, today's busy canals, which travel to the sea as well as to both Arles and Montpellier, were also the brainchild of Louis the Holy. The 11-metre high wall provides a unique view across the rooftops of this romantic town. The 1,700-metre-long town wall of Aigues-Mortes consists of 10 gates and 5 defensive towers, a true masterpiece of medieval architecture. King Louis IX and his army embarked from Aigues-Mortes to conquer the Holy Land for Christianity. In 1246, 2 years before the King's Crusade to Egypt, the town's inhabitants began to prepare the machinery of war for this great adventure. However, the crusade was unsuccessful, the king having been taken prisoner. Even so, this was not to be his final military expedition. Following his liberation and return to France, he was encouraged to mount a new crusade in 1270, one which he did not survive. The harbour also suffered a terrible fate. It silted up. Thus, the inhabitants of Aigues-Mortes experienced a difficult period in their history. At the beginning of the 14th century, the seawater could no longer reach the town's southern wall. The town was totally dependent upon its harbour. Now far less ships visited the town, and so its once prosperous economy soon diminished. The Rhône once entered the harbour and thus assisted in the establishment of Aigues-Mortes. But due to its deposits of mud, the river also played its part in the demise of the harbour. In the 15th century, the town's inhabitants attempted to empty the harbour of mud, but their efforts were in vain. In 1481, the harbour of Aigues-Mortes was finally closed. The major harbour of Marseille was now part of French territory. The towered walls of the town, once the most modern and mighty in France, were suddenly superfluous. There was also a decline in population. In the 14th century, almost 15,000 people lived there, but today the town has a population of 5,000. In 1686, the Constance Tower, along with the wall's further towers, had a new function. They were used as a prison. It was mostly the Huguenots who refused to be converted to the Catholic faith who were imprisoned within the old fortification of Aigues-Mortes. Religion has always been important here. The church of Notre-Dame des Sablons, that is situated close to the monument of Ludwig IX, built in 1848, dates back to the founding years of the town. The church was first mentioned in 1293, but some of its original decoration indicates that it was of earlier origin. Over the years, the Gothic-style church saw many changes, and in 1638, the church tower collapsed. Around 100 years later, the church was closed, but eventually opened its doors once again after 6 years of extensive restoration. Today, little remains of the knights who once prayed here for a successful crusade against the Muslims who occupied Jerusalem. Thanks to its splendid town wall, Aigues-Mortes still captures the atmosphere of the Middle Ages.